Hey, we're two fat guys.
And we just watched Superman Returns.
There you go. Little Don Pardo for you. Next week, Superman Returns.
I've done a couple of them like that.
I know.
Maybe like one. Kevin Spacey is the best. We should just
especially in
kick it off.
Especially in context of this marathon. Because when I was watching the first two Superman, I was like, I mean, he's like, how do I think Kevin Spacey is the best? Like, clearly Gene Hackman got it down. Like, Gene Hackman was the first, and he nailed it. And then I watched this, like, fucking no.
Like you watch,
my instincts are right.
Because you go back to the original and you see how much Kevin Spacey built off of Gene Hackman, like by a lot. I mean, Kevin Spacey certainly owes his performance to Gene Hackman, but man, he took it and ran with it. Man, I can't even imagine anyone else playing Lex Luthor at this point.
At this point, I know they don't have any connections, like the new Man of Steel series coming out. They don't have any connections. But I feel like if they don't do Luthor in the first movie, they give it a movie buffer. I think you can bring him back, because you kind of have to. It's almost like J. Jonah Jameson. I'm like, how are you going to dare have anyone else play that part? Like, trust us. We're a stupid movie-going audience. We paid for like 14 movies in a row now. We don't care. Reboot, remake, whatever the hell you want. just
make it the best.
Yeah,
that's all we care about.
We'll be fine if you J.K. Simmons and all of them. I don't care. I'll ignore it. Toby who?
I was about to say, you can even have J.K. Simmons as Spider-Man, and I'd be fine. And then I remember that deleted scene from Spider-Man 2 or 3, one of them.
Or the included scene in Spider-Man 2.1.
Yeah. And, man, that seems the best.
That'd be his best day of filming. By far.
Or his worst. Like,
worst and everyone else's best.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, J.K. Simmons seems like an awesome guy, but I can also see him being, like,
tired of the shit after
what the hell? like since he does a lot of voice work, he has to show up and he has to like put on this spandex suit, like, and then have all the hair and makeup stuff, like. But then at the same time, he gets to be Spider-Man for a day.
It's true. That was his suggestion. I'm gonna put the suit on.
It's here in the office, so
I'm putting it on. Like, they couldn't stop him.
Like, quick, get the cameras! Get the cameras on!
I guess turn the cameras on. Lighting? Doesn't matter. I'll light myself. Oh my god, he did it!
Snaps his fingers. Lights them on. We may be overselling J.K. Simmons. Or not. Maybe. Who's to say?
Who's in Superman Returns? Is that what we're talking about him?
Yeah, probably.
Kevin Spacey, though. Also very good.
Yeah. So, Brandon Routh, also very good. His was a lot where, I mean, obviously he also took a lot from Christopher Reeve, but I don't. He did not exceed Christopher Reeve.
No. In fact, the moments where I feel like he was really letting Christopher Reeve down, when I'm looking at him, like, I think it's just the plot the hand he was dealt. It's the plot that he's dealing with. Like, he has to be sort of this mopey, emotional return guy.
Yeah. He shows up, Lois is with some other guy, and
like if they would have tried a cleaner break, I think he would have, like, even if he stayed with the Chris Reeve, because I mean that's how you should play Superman.
Yeah,
I think they still would have done. He would have done much better.
Yeah, and I mean, especially knowing Chris what
he's done since.
Yeah, what he's gone on to do. He's clearly got the chops.
Honestly, I think it's pretty clear. There's no real debate about it. What drags the movie down is the Lois and her son plot.
Yeah.
Like, it just drags the movie down. It's what kills the pacing. Because I'm watching the first half of the movie, watching Lex Luthor stealing stuff and that.
Yeah.
And then when it gets bogged down in Lois Lane, I'm just like, oh, this is where the movie dies. This is where there's an hour in the middle that feels like nothing gets accomplished. That's I'm always surprised that it's 2.5 hours. I'm like, it only feels like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because you're thinking about all the great parts and how it could easily be cut down.
I'm like, okay, well, there's the early stuff when he comes back and he's catching planes and shit, and Lex Luthor is being wacky with the dogs, and then there's the end with the island, and he's fist fighting Superman and all that good stuff, and then just crap in the middle. It's not against what's the name of the place, Lois Lane.
I don't know.
I think it suffers a little from I don't know entirely sure it's accurate, but I think it maybe suffers a little bit from what I call King Kong syndrome. It feels a lot like the movie that Bryan Singer has been thinking about making since he was like a 7-year-old, and so he's like, I'm gonna make my Superman movie, and then just Except he has sort of the opposite sensibilities of Peter Jackson, whereas Peter Jackson's like, yes, more bug pits and dinosaurs, yeah! 2 more hours of bug pits. He was like, oh yeah, 2 more hours of deep emotional like turmoil between Lois and Clark.
Yeah. Though I like your suggestion when we talked about, because we just read that Bryan Singer, apparently his only choice to play General Zod was Jude Law. Like, he was like, Jude Law all the way. And then Jude Law was like, no. And he kept asking him, and Jude Law kept saying no. And so he's like, fine, we don't need General Zod. Like, so wrote General Zod out of the script, and you may have been right. Like, maybe there was a lot more General Zod and a lot less Lois.
I could see that. In fact, I'd love to get a hand on sort of at least the treatment for what it was when Zod was in it. Because I could see it being much better paced. You'd have more to fill the 2.5 hours if Zod was somehow involved.
Yeah, I mean, you could even have, like, throughout the movie, General Zod being the cause of, like, the action, while Lex Luthor is still doing his scheming, like his grand scheming in the background.
Yeah, because his grand scheming would hurt both Zod and Superman, so that'd be interesting at the end when they're both sort of against Lex. There's a lot of...
Yeah, but then they're still affected by the Kryptonite Island, and then Lex is punching both of them, and then they have to work together, and then Superman has to defeat Zod as well, like that, and... That'd be a great movie.
And Jude Law, man, the second you said the memories went like, all right, he said Jude Law should be Zod. I don't know about that.
Yeah, my first Jude Law thought was AI. That's always my go-to when I'm thinking of Jude Law.
I've not watched AI from start to finish.
It's pretty good. That's a discussion for a different time. But he's a robot and like
I'm aware of
super good looking and he's a gigolo robot and so. And so I first thought about that, and I was like, he would be a terrible General Zod. And then I thought of, like, Watson and a couple of his other things, and then the movie, just Road to Perdition.
So I didn't think of any of that. I pictured his head.
And then you put it on the General Zod body?
Yeah, I pictured his head, and then I was like, this person is General Zod. And then, like, my brain brought up the image of the original Zod.
And like morphed him?
Yeah, and it sort
gave him the beard and the...
It became sort of like translucent and then like teleported in front of his face. And I'm like, fucking, his skull is the skull structure of General Zod.
No, yeah,
it would take zero work for me to believe that this was the same fucking person. Like, dye his hair black, good to go.
Yeah, and he would.
Plus, he's clearly an amazing actor. He's a very good actor. So, I mean, the fact that he has the look for Zod, a great actor, done. I'm sold. Fucking, let's do Superman Returns starring General Zod.
Let's just come up with another movie. It's just Superman Returns. Don't change anything.
Just add General Zod.
Pretend it doesn't exist.
We'll just edit in the existing footage. You couldn't get Kevin Spacey back.
or Brendan Routh. So we just took all
edited around it. We got a big green room, and we got Jude Law to dye his hair black.
And we put him in a mocap suit. We don't know why. We probably could have just put him in the costume.
In fact, we couldn't afford mocap, so he's just in the suit.
That's General Zod's new outfit. The mocap suit.
We put in a line of dialogue early, like off screen.
Thank God for the whatever.
Like, that's one of those high-tech Kryptonian battlefields.
That's how we got out of the...
That must allow an access out of the Phantom Zone. Oh, yes, that's right. Unseen people talking.
Because that's the best way to fix a plot hole you realize in post, is just to put it in someone's looped dialogue when their face isn't on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate when I see that. That makes me hurt. Because usually I feel like it's a result of a focus group.
Yeah.
Like, people in a focus group are like, I didn't get this plot. And they're like, oh, Jesus. Like, well, alright, get a sound alike in here and play the sound during the establishing shot.
Uh-huh. But yeah, Superman. I think watching it in this marathon gave me maybe a deeper context for it to appreciate it and enjoy it. It still has the same problems though. It just sort of reaffirms a lot of the stuff I felt about the movie before because I didn't really hate the movie.
Yeah,
it got a lot of negative response, but I enjoyed it. It's just that it has a big problem that honestly, now that I think about it, his odd-sized hole might be exactly what the problem is.
Yeah. Man, Kevin Spacey. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, when he has her say it, when he keeps telling her to say Superman will stop you. Come on, don't tip your tongue.
You're crazy. Superman will
wrong.
Like
so good.
Oh, like it was so pent up, and he It's just like, oh, say it.
You in his mannerisms, his delivery, you just get all the frustration he feels at the existence of Superman.
That's really the selling point to Lex Luthor. I feel based again, like I don't read much of the DC comics, but based on these movies, that just the frustration of how everyone around him is so much stupider than him.
Mm-hmm.
And even if his ideas are genuinely evil, like, yeah, I'll kill billions of people, whatever, but like, just I still feel bad for him because I'm like, you just need someone to talk to, like maybe if he had like a smart person to bounce these plans off of, maybe he could like.
The smart person, like, maybe not. Maybe
yeah,
not.
like no, like that's a great idea. I love where your head's at, but maybe we don't kill as many people and we could still make a buttload of money. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Like Plastic Man's like, let's not kill everyone.
Yeah, like. Yeah, and so like part of me still feels for Lex and those, and I think both Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey sold that beautifully, and not to mention their respective henchmen, like Ned Beatty, Gene Hackman was great, and then Parker Posey.
Parker Posey and Cal Penn do solid.
Yeah.
Cal Penn's more of a background, but I mean that he does.
He's not in as much as I thought he was.
He's the leader of the four-man henchmen.
Yeah, but man, it's all about Parker Posey though in this movie.
She is very good.
Yeah, true story.
Man, remember she's in Blade Trinity?
Fucking yeah. Remember Blade Trinity?
Yep. Let's see.
When did you see my fucking dick?
I think you added a fucking.
No, I don't normally say it, and actually I took out another fuck.
When the fuck did you see my fucking?
No,
dick?
it's the line is I always quote it as when did you see my dick?
Yeah.
But it's actually when the fuck did you see my dick, fuckface?
So you added a fuck that time, but you added in the wrong place.
Did I put it in the wrong place?
Yeah, you said, when did you see my fucking dick?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Aren't all dicks fucking dicks?
I mean, you would hope so. Hope for their sake. All the dicks are fucking dicks. Well, not dicks fucking dicks. I mean, unless you're into that sort of thing. This got out of hand. Superman. Hey, my Roman history professor told me it's A-okay to have penis sword fights in the Roman Empire. Okay, at least in the Roman Empire, not like in class, like whatever. It's an anything goes kind of class. It's probably gonna happen. I probably don't want that to happen, Professor.
I don't. This is an elective. I don't really need to be in this class anymore.
I'm going to go take American history. There are far fewer penis sword fights. Sure, some.
Yeah,
but not as many.
In any historical setting, you're going to get some sword fighting.
Which is what Superman Returns is all about. Sword fighting.
Watch Kevin Spacey in Superman Returns.
I think I'd like to see like an edit, like an interesting edit of Superman Returns.
Just removes Lois Lane as a character. It does what Superman 3 did to Lois Lane.
Yep. She goes off to some island
character. Yeah. Pretty interesting cut. Like you cut Superman Returns with those scenes that explain where Lois is from Superman 3. So but all the characters in the scenes just change randomly. Like it's just Christopher Reeve for like a minute.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would
get on it, internet.